Okay, how to create variables, part 2. So in the previous lesson you learned how to create the variables, what different variables there are, what you can do with them. But now we're going to learn how we're able to input data not from equations we write in our program, but as our program is running to receive input from the user. So I will start off by creating num. Now I want to receive a number from the user, and then afterwards I'm going to display whatever they typed on the screen. Going a bit further, instead of simply seeing out num, I will see out you entered num. Let's place some spacing here. Alright, so see out, computer out, then it's going to output a string. Now, before each command, you need this symbols here. So see out, you entered, and then this is going to output a different command, and then this is going to output a different command. So you entered num end line. Right? Make sure they're all separated by these less than symbols. When you have cin, it is doing computer in. That means it's getting data from the keyboard. The next thing it's looking for is where am I going to input it to? I'm going to input it to num. The good thing about a cin, it does not need an endl. It actually will not run with an endl, right? So cin num. In this case, notice that my screen is simply flashing. If I am a user using this program for the first time and I did not know what it's doing, well, I have no idea what I'm supposed to type in this case. I might put my name. And then it gives me an error because, well, this string here is not what I wanted. I should have asked them to do the following. Cout, please enter an integer. Now on the screen I will see this and I will know what is expected. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. Please enter an integer, 33. You entered 33. That's great. Okay, so this is how I receive data. I am going to receive another number. This time I am inputting num2. Here, when I'm going to output, I'm going to say you entered num space and space num2. Okay, so in this case, I entered, let's go ahead and, I entered two different ones. Oh, by the way, that little squiggly line, sometimes it does that. It's got a delay, and you might think it's wrong, but compile it, see if it works. If it works, that's great. It's just possibly your computer is doing other stuff. Please enter an integer, 6. Please enter another integer, 9. You entered 6 and 9. That's correct. Notice what I can do now. See out. The sum is num plus num2. Okay, in this case, I added these inside the cout. The value of num, it will not change. The value of 2 will not change. All that is happening is they will be added together and then displayed to the screen. That saved number, the num plus num2 will not be saved actually. It will simply be sent to the screen. So in this case, what it is sending to the screen is 5 and let's say 23. You entered 5 and 23. The sum is 28. That is correct. Okay, so you're able to manipulate your program once again from top to bottom to do as you wish. The reason why a lot of people love programming is because what your program is doing is exactly what your thinking process is. I am thinking of getting two numbers, displaying them, and then adding it for them. And as you learn more and more programming, you will start thinking of more difficult challenges and being able to program them the way it should run sequentially from top to bottom. Okay, this means you fully understood the program to be able to write it. Okay, how do I get a character? Char letter. Cout, please enter a letter. Cin letter. Cout. Okay, so the only thing I did was created another character here, one character, another data type. I asked them for the letter. So notice it's going sequentially. It's first going to ask for an int, another int, and then the letter. Then it's going to say the two numbers they entered, the sum, and then it's going to output the letter I entered. Let's see if it works the way we wanted. Please enter an integer, 22. Please enter another integer, 54. Enter a letter, y. Oh. You entered 22 and 54. The sum is 76. The letter you entered was y. Okay. So in this case, I've already entered a character. Can I enter a string? Here, I'll do a string name. Cout. And now I do have some people who unfortunately hard code their program, such as if I know I am going to write the name is Nick, some people will simply say your name is Nick. And they hard code the answer here. That is not good programming, because if I gave this program to someone else whose name is not Nick, then their program is basically giving us bad information. So always store the variable name and display that name instead of what you assume is the answer. So your name is, and then after this it's name. And you'll notice that sometimes I erase the semicolon and put it back, and the reason why it formats each line nice and neatly. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and run it. I'll put the screen close to the middle. Please enter an integer, 23 and 32. Please enter a letter, A. Please enter a name, Joe. Haha, I didn't put Nick. You entered 23 and 32, which the sum is 55. That's correct. The letter you entered was A. Your name is Joe. Looks fine to me. So this is how you do input and output for this type of data. Be aware that you can do it this way to where num plus num2, or if you're the type that prefers information to be stored, I can do int sum. Notice at this point I cannot say sum equals num plus num2, because here we don't know what's inside num and num2. But if I declare sum there, and at this point I already know what's inside num and num2, I could simply say sum equals num plus num2. And now instead of outputting num plus num2, I will display sum. Now, this here could have been written below they enter the letter, before they enter the string. As long as it's placed after they have the two values, or before it's actually being used, it will be perfectly fine. You could even put it somewhere like here. It would interrupt how nice and neat it is, because all of this, the way I've been writing it, please enter integer, then they input it, please enter another, then they input that. Everything is going nice and smoothly the way I'm asking, I'm receiving. But then all of a sudden this is interrupted with please enter a letter, and then it's doing something else. So try not to do this and placing it in the middle, even though it will work. For human readability, it's best you put it outside, such as here. You might even separate it so that someone who's looking at this code knows this is a different section compared to these. These are together because these are single commands. Everything here is basically output. So here's all the output. Here's all the data types separated by integers, characters, string. Here's where you get input. This would be called calculations. So try to be nice and neat from the beginning, and as you go on, you're going to start learning new things and be neat with that as well. So please enter an integer. Once again, let's do our 23 and 32. I'll pick the letter S. Enter your name. This time I will put Nick. So once again, it's 55. You entered S. Your name is Nick. Good. I do believe that should cover all data types. The float, the double are the same as an integer, so I did not cover those. But that should cover how you see in, see out data types. Okay, thank you.